Hey everybody, welcome back. And it is freezing here in Minnesota, and you can probably see it in my breath. And I'm in the garage, and it's usually 30 degrees warmer than it is outside. That's how cold it is. But today I just got a huge shipment of parts that came in, and I want to show you what I'm doing to my 2012 Corvette Z06 Centennial with all this Z07 stuff on it. As everybody, kind of all my friends know, and they give me a hard time about it, and that's totally fine. I name all my cars. I don't know, you get this kind of bond relationship with it, and I've called this one the Honey Badger. So Honey Badger just got a bunch of parts today, and I'm waiting on the forge lines to show up. They are being custom built based on your guys' votes and recommendations, so I appreciate everybody who voted. That was really cool to hear everybody's thoughts. So those are coming, they are on the way. I do have tires for them, and I got the Falcon 615 pluses. They only come in 315, so the Honey Badger here will be 315 square all the way around on those forge lines when they show up. Those are in the basement because I don't want them to freeze, and I don't want them to kind of lose their stickiness because they get cold or frozen. So let me walk you through all the stuff, and I'm going to give you a little hint. It has something to do with all those boxes back there full of stuffing. Okay, so if you kind of know what's going on, if you've seen those boxes before, you kind of know what's coming. So the plan here was the car needs to do three things, right? A car needs to do three things. It needs to go, it needs to stop, and it needs to go side to side. The car goes just fine. It doesn't need any help on its own. It had some head and cam work done, so that 505 number you see on the fender, not quite accurate anymore. And it stops probably the best stopping car I've ever had, at least factory brakes, I will say that, because it does have the carbon ceramic brakes, and those are absolutely phenomenal, and I'm glad I got the version with that because those are just unbelievably good. The thing it doesn't do as well, it doesn't go around corners as well as I'd like it, so I'm going to start way over here on this end with all of our stuff. I'm gonna get out of the picture so you don't have to stare at my ugly mug anymore. But here's what we've got. And I'm gonna start over here with a set of seat belts. So these are six-point harnesses. And next what we've got here is we've got, these are B-pillar covers, okay? So this is called a shark bar, okay? And this goes between the two pillars behind the seats so that you can run a set of seat belts. Now, I bought a Champ R OMP seat from Pegasus. They're really close. They're actually really close by. So shipping's really cheap and everything like that. And I'll show you a picture now. Okay, so the reason I got the seat is the lateral support in these Corvettes is it's not good. Everybody complains about the seats and how poorly they are done, and so there's a couple reasons here. The Centennial Edition has, they made about 2,000, give or take, Centennial Edition Corvettes. And so all those have the same amount of seats and the same type of seats, and they're not going to be making any more anytime soon. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to save those seats, or at least the driver's seat anyway, from the wear and tear. So the idea is I can throw it back in if I want to resell it or whatever at some point down the future. Haha, I know some guys are laughing at me now. You don't keep your cars long enough. You sell them too quick. Blah blah blah. Anyway, point being, I want to keep that seat nice, so I got a racing seat that I'm going to put in there. I'm waiting on the bracket, which is it's a planted bracket. That's the brand, planted. So this allows you to run a harness behind it, because what I found is that 3-point seat belt that comes from the factory is fine if you're just doing normal driving, but I feel so secure having 1, 2, 3, 4 shoulders and lap belt holding me in. I just feel so much better, especially when you're wearing a helmet. There's no better feeling than being strapped in really, really tight. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going to be putting in this harness bar. So these are actually replacement pieces for the B pillars. They have the hole cut out because this bar runs all the way across and then bolts to the actual B pillar location itself. So you're using the original seat holes for the seat belts. So these are just brackets that hold this in place so that you can run a bar. And people are wondering, well, are these things safe? Well, if you see any Chevrolet or heck, even some of the Ford guys, the Dodge guys, whatever, they install these on their test cars. So like when they go to the Nürburgring or they go to the other places and they have to test a kind of stock vehicle at the track, these are what they install. So if the factory thinks these are fine, I'm okay with it. So let's move on a little bit. And what I've got here is some bunch of ride tech stuff. And this is part of these are the two rear brackets for our sway bar. And the original sway bar that came with the Corvette is fine. It's not very stiff though. They traded comfort for driving left and right and laying flat and that sort of thing. So we've got a huge sway bar in the back. Ride Tech calls them their muscle bar or whatever. But I mean, the pieces that they have, this is for the front, but it's very good looking stuff, and it's almost unfortunate that you don't get to see it underneath the car, but it's very stout, very thick stuff, and real beefy. I mean, take a look at this stuff. I mean, it's aluminum, very heavy duty stuff. So looking forward to how this stuff performs. These are the end links that comes with it, so it's kind of a whole kind of a kit in and of itself. The next thing I got, and I have to credit John Boost. Go to Boost Performance, BOOS, performance.com. Corvette guy here in Minnesota. He knows his stuff. He's real good. Racer guy. I mean, anybody who knows anything about Corvettes, John's your guy. So go check him out. And what he was telling me is on these control arms, the upper and lower control arms, is the camber. If you get really, really aggressive, you get a set of really sticky tires, and even if you've got a real aggressive camber set to it, if you hit a corner just right, you can move that camber 2 to 3 degrees out from its normal position. So now you've got negative camber where you're wanting positive camber. So the weak point in these Corvettes is the upper and lower control arm bushing. So I went to Ride Tech again, and they have a Delrin Bushing Kit. Now there is an upgrade to that. There's other places that come to these pressed-in ones. My goal here is that this is going to be kind of partially street, some autocross, maybe a big track once in a while, but not hardcore racer guy. That's just not me. So the Delrin ones will be fine for what I'm doing, because this is the next level. This before you gotta go full race car, and never go full race car. You just don't do it. So, and what you see, kind of back here, is you see that front sway bar as well. And then, what this car came with, the F55 Magnetic Ride. The Magnetic Ride is fine. You get a little button and you get to dial. It's kind of fun to play with. I haven't really noticed, but to be honest, these cars easily overpower the traction control and that Magnetic Ride really quick, especially if you really want to get on it pretty easily. So I'll be ditching the Magnetic Ride for a set of Ride Techs now after a lengthy conversation with the Ride Tech folks. They said, Eric, for what you're doing, this is a half street, half whatever. You don't need the triples. They're nice and they're good. But Eric, if you don't know what you're doing with all the little knobs and the buttons and the dealies, and you're just a weekend warrior guy, these are your ticket. So they sent me a bunch of springs to go with it. I asked a bunch of friends and a bunch of folks who have helped me out. You know who you are. I really appreciate all the feedback. And I called the Ride Tech guys and I said, so what do I need as far as spring rates and that sort of thing? And they said, what, we've got a lot of experience with C6s and C5s, so they just sent me basic springs that they thought would work. So I have to ask them exactly what spring rate it is, but those are going to be put on next. There's the OMP seat, and I do have to say I am disappointed in Ride Tech in one thing. If you know Ride Tech, and if you've ever bought anything from them, it used to come in like this huge packet, and it would, in big bold letters, it would say "Do not open." And I'm not sure if they stopped doing that because people actually took them seriously. But that was the owner's way of making a joke about guys never reading the instructions. So they don't have that anymore, which is kind of a bummer, because I thought it was pretty funny, and when I opened it, I thought I was going to be able to show you guys that joke, but maybe not. But that's all right. So these are the instructions that come with it, and literally, I mean, look at this. I mean, They did not want this stuff damaged. I filled 4 boxes full of just stuffing this black. I mean, stuff. They were not messing around with this. So hopefully, let's get a family photo. Everybody, gather around for the family photo. Here we go. Cheese. Okay, so that's done. Hopefully, this will make it go better side to side. Stick with me. When the forge lines do show up, you'll see them, and all this is going to end up on there. I want to say thanks again for stopping by and watching the progress on the video. If you want to see and follow the progress of the build and how it goes, I'll be updating it here soon. As soon as all the stuff arrives, we'll throw it on, and I'll get some updated video of that, and hopefully we'll get some video later when it warms up a little bit so I can go outside and play. But again, thanks a lot for joining me. Appreciate it. When the forge lines show up, you'll be the first to see it because I'll be really excited to see it. But I've got some cleanup to do for now. But otherwise, thanks again, and I will see you guys later.